his unplugs and his commentaries, and they would be like, he just does that off the cuff, right? And I would always be like, no, he takes massive amounts of time to write those. Like, he's not just thinking about it for 2 seconds and spitting junk out. And they're always shocked. Hey, do you run into that where people ask you that and then they're kind of surprised?
Yeah. I'm always intrigued by that. Years ago, I don't remember what this was, the specific of it, but I said something on the air, and Dave Lane, the greatest general manager in the history of television, in my opinion, he came into my office and he goes, "Oh my gosh, Dale," he said, "I can't believe you said that last night." He said, "We're getting calls, people are upset, whatever." And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry about that." He goes, "Well, I explained to him that this is my favorite line." He goes, I just told him that, well, that's Dale. Sometimes he just fires it off the top of his head and he doesn't realize it until it's too late. And sometimes you just get caught." I went, "Oh, no, I wrote that." And he goes,
For me, I'm more of like the front end of it.
I'm just making it up. Of a similar nature or character.
JMKast. JMKast.
But we get shocked often by Chris.
If you Google my name, it always pulls up Ric Flair and Blackjack Mulligan. That's another story for another time, though.
Hello, it's the JMKast, and like, subscribe, download,
share.
What else do you do?
Anything that promotes this that our awesome audience could do, we would appreciate.
We want people to listen, and they're definitely going to want to listen to this one. Oh my God, yes. Part three is the schnizzle.
It's so awesome.
You want to see, well, if you can.
Hear.
You definitely want to hear our podcast with Dale.
Yeah, Dale Hansen in this one reveals some really cool stuff that he's working on. Post his 1 year
it's just
hiatus.
More Dale.
It's just Dale.
It's more Dale.
It's so good.
He was so gracious with his time with us, and very appreciative that
honestly think he would.
And the thing is, he probably would have talked to us another hour had we just said, "Thank you, Dale."
Yeah, he was ready to keep going.
He really was. I think I felt he was a little disappointed.
I think it was us being trying to be respectful of his time,
and he was ready to go.
He was, which leads perfectly into this episode.
So, part 3, Dale Hansen, the legend.
Yeah, like, share, subscribe.
This is the thing I've tried to do, and I have thought about this on more than one occasion. But this is kind of going off the rails a little bit. But you know what I always find funny? And I think you and I have talked about this a little bit. My wife in particular, I mean, she just gets madder than hell when I lose at poker. And in fact, we have a running gag that whenever I leave the house to go to a poker game, she's like, "Remember, if you don't win, don't come home."
Mike says, "If I don't have fun, don't come home."
Yeah, it's just a standard line. And I got friends of mine that look at me and go, "Wait a minute, you went to play poker and you lost $1,400? I mean, how stupid are you?" I said, "Well, I don't know. How much did you pay for that go-kart you ride around on the weekends? Or how much did you pay for that boat that you sit in to go fishing at Lake Louisville?" I mean,
twice a year.
It's my entertainment. It's my relaxation, right? But other people will tell me, "Oh, no, I just bought this $500 bottle of wine. It's the greatest." I'm like, "I'm sorry, what again?"
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
If my wine, I'm pretty happy if I don't have to get the wine out of a box. I mean, we're kind of stepping up in class when we're not drinking it out of a cardboard box.
That's fun.
And yet I've got this friend of mine that's got like 1,000 bottles of wine.
Wow.
And he's very proud of it. And it's a great wine collection. And we'll go to dinner, and oh my gosh, he orders $200, $300, $400 bottles of wine. And I'm like, but he sees nothing wrong with that. Or he'll buy clothes, or he'll different friends. And then like Chris, where I finally settled this argument years ago, Chris spends thousands of dollars on her horses, and she shows horses, and if she wins, she gets a ribbon.
All right.
And I said, "Yeah, but if I win, I get $1,000. If you win, you get a ribbon." And I said,
She feels
and yet
accomplishment.
she has no problem. She has no problem. In fact, I'm looking at the credit card bill on my desk right now, as a matter of fact. And there's just $700 for hay, $400 for vitamins, $300 for the vet. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on. And then I come home and I say, well, I lost $1,300. Oh my God, you're sick. You're sick. You're a sick human being. So I sat down one time and I thought, I got to think back over all the money that I really do think I've lost. But I've got a couple of big wins in there to help offset it. But for the most part, I have no doubt that I'm on the short end of the ledger.
Most people
and
are.
But I don't now especially. But 40 years ago, I was gambling on games, and when I was working in Omaha before I got into broadcasting. And then it continued for a couple of years while I was in broadcasting. And then I legitimately got in trouble because I was betting way over my head, trying to catch up.
Right.
And I don't allow that to happen to me, and I haven't allowed it to happen to me for 40 years. I lose more money, and here's my bottom line theory. I lose enough money that it hurts. I really don't like losing that amount of money, but it's never enough money that I will have any trouble making the house payment.
Right. Same thing here.
Because if it doesn't hurt, if it doesn't hurt, then it's just, what's the point?
Exactly.
Right? Does that make any sense to you?
Oh yeah.
So it's one of the problems that I have right now is that I donkey off so much money because we're playing, 1-2. And how much is it? $8? Please, here. $12? Not a problem. Because as you well know, Greg, I used to play some pretty high stakes.
Right.
And like I said, when I told that guy in Iowa that $300 to see the flop was not unreasonable, that was true.
Yep.
And I would win or lose thousands. But I was also making enough money that was fine. I enjoyed it.
Of course.
Now I don't have that kind of money anymore.
Yeah.
But as a result, I play such low stakes that, I don't really care if I lose $150. I mean, please, But as a result, I make some horrendously stupid plays.
But
because if I do hit the 7 for that gut shot straight, that'll kind of make me giggle.
That is true.
Yeah, it will. The one thing you have though, going kind of against you, Dale, that people like Rick and I, when we sit at the table, don't have to worry about is you have what I call the Dale factor. When you sit at the table, people want to go, "Hey, I beat Dale Hansen,"
or "I lost to Dale Hansen." They want that story.
They want that story to go along with it, and you have to, that's a whole nother challenge for you that normal other people don't have.
I'm serious about this. I don't bluff. I told you this yesterday. I don't bluff very much because I learned the hard way that nobody really wants to lay down their hand against me.
Nope.
I've learned nobody wants to lay anybody's hand down against anybody anymore.
Well, there's some of that as well, but I think what I do believe anyway, and I think I've seen enough of it, is that if they have a marginal hand and the bet's not too out of whack, they'll make the call because if they win, they can tell their friends, Hansen tried to bluff me, but I snapped him off. Or if they lose, they sit there and they go, well, I thought I had Hansen, but he shocked me. But I played with Dale Hansen all night. And I don't know why people seem to enjoy that, but they seem to anyway.
Because you were on their TVs and in their house, man. That goes. Robin Williams once said it. More people remember him from Mork and Mindy than any of his movies. And you're like, why? It's because I was in their homes. You have to go to see me at a movie theater, but I'm in your home.
Yeah. But again, it's just part of it, and I have to adjust accordingly. I love it though. I mean, most of the games I play in, 95% of them now. I mean, it's just. I'll sit down for a little bit. Nobody says anything. That's kind of the new thing, which is kind of strange. When I sit down, nobody says anything. And I swear to you, when this kind of first started happening, it was almost like, oh, wow, I guess it's true. They all forgot. I mean, nobody remembers me now. It's been 8 months, 9 months, whatever. And then somebody will eventually say something, and then the conversation's off and running. And they're like, well, I didn't want to bother you, Dale. I didn't want to ask you. And then next guy will jump in. Dale, really, tell me about Jerry Jones. Tell me about Mark Cuban. Tell me about the cat. You know.
Oh, no. And, off to the races.
Now I find myself, excuse me here just a second. I'm in the middle of a hand. Hold on. I'll finish that story in a minute. You know. And then, but that's when I'm in my element. I can sit there, and you know this, Greg. I can play for hours on end. I mean, I can just. Yeah, I've played some ridiculous marathon sessions, and I just love it. I mean, I do. I just love it, and I'm thrilled that these poker rooms have finally opened up in Dallas because that WinStar and Choctaw Drive that was just brutal. Too much. I mean, brutal. Driving home for 2.5 hours.
I go to Shreveport.
Long session, and usually a losing session. Yeah. That's a brutal drive.
Yeah,
that's a brutal drive. Now it's about a 35-minute drive home.
Yep.
Which is about right. It allows me to cool off. It allows me to kind of think through the night. And but the bottom line, and even the lovely Mrs. Hansen has finally come around. All she says to me now is, "Well, I got up this morning and I saw like $3 in your money clip, so I'm assuming that wasn't a good night." And then she goes, "But did you have fun?"
Yeah. That's what my wife says. She goes, "If you're not having fun, don't go. I'm not allowed to come home angry."
And I said, "Baby, I had a ball." I mean, I said, I had a ball. We played for 7 hours, 8 hours, 9 hours.
Stories.
You know me. I mean, that's awesome. I could do that all day. But the only problem is, seriously, is that I'm just not good enough to sit there for too long without getting involved in a hand. And that's why I don't play tournament poker. The only tournament I've ever really played was that one you and I went to up at I forget now. I don't remember.
WinStar.
WinStar.
And you were doing well.
I thought, okay, I did great. But by 4 in the afternoon, I was so bored I couldn't see straight.
He told me the story before.
You remember? And I had this big stack, and even TJ Cloutier walked over it.
Yeah, he was ready to make the final table, basically.
Yeah, and he looked over at me and he goes, "My God," he said, "I heard you love to play poker." And he said, "You must be pretty good." I said, "Well, no, I mean, it was a combination." And the guy at the table said, he goes, "It must be fun when you're running well and you're playing well." And the key phrase there was the playing well part. Because that's all I play for. I've told people this, and they laugh. They look at me like I'm the dumbest guy in the world. If I could leave the poker table losing money, I mean, not a lot of money, obviously. If I could leave the poker table losing money, and the whole table goes, "Phew, he lost, but damn, he's good. I mean, he's really good."
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
What bothers me is I leave the poker table, and I know for a fact they go, "What the hell was he thinking?" You know, on some of those hands. I don't care about the money. I care about how I play.
Right.
And I know for a fact that I play different than most people think I should. But there is a method to my madness, if you will. And
I think you're a lot tighter player than most people think.
Oh, I think I'm so much tighter than people think I am. It's ridiculous. But I got a buddy of mine who's really good, and he'll sit there and he wins almost every time, but he doesn't play anything. I mean, he's a really good tournament player. I mean, really good tournament player. But we're in a cash game. And he doesn't play anything. And but then and again, it's kind of serious. When he does play, well, I'm not calling. You know, he might bluff. He's bluffed me a couple of times, obviously, but most times he's got it. When he's in the hand, he's got it.
Is this the one I've played up at Choctaw a few times with?
Yeah. Poker Star, we call him. Yeah. You know him. But I mean, he's really, really good, and he makes some really good timed bluffs. But at the same time, he doesn't realize how many times I bluffed him because he's a good enough player to fold.
Right.
And if I get into the right situation, I guarantee I've bluffed him a dozen times. That he doesn't. I hope he doesn't hear this podcast. But no, he's.
Call you every time.
You're the only guy at the table that anybody that I can bluff. You're the only guy that he won't call like with middle pair or some nonsense.
Right.
And everybody else at the table will, you know. but he's got that kind of patience, and I just don't. And so that was one of my favorite stories. I'm sitting there, and here comes TJ Cloutier walking up to me, talking about the big stack I've got and how well I'm playing. And then I said, you remember? And I said, how long does it take to win this tournament? And I didn't mean it in the fact that I was going to win. I just meant how long does this thing last? And the guy looked at me. I'll never forget. He goes, it'll go till like 1 a.m. I went, oh, okay, I'm all in. And I went all in, and it took me 3 times. It took me 3 times to get rid of my chips because everybody kept folding.
Oh my God, Dale, that's hilarious.
And I go all in.
Couldn't have been at my table.
Yeah, I got like 9-6. I said, guys, I told you. I said, who wants these chips? Because I'm going all in. I got to go home.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I played most of the night before, Greg. You remember? I got up there after the show.
Yep.
So I was dead tired. Plus, there was no way I could play till 1 a.m. and drive home. And so I did. I just said, this has been great. It was $100 buy-in. And I told you this when I went up there. I wasn't playing to win the tournament. I was just playing for the practice of playing tournament poker. Yeah. And I played for hours. Yep. And I had a great time.
Yep.
And then about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I said, oh, gee, guys, I got to go. I'm all in.
Had enough.
And, and it took me 3 times before somebody finally called me. And I turned over like probably Queen 5, quite honestly.
Right.
That's usually what I had. But yeah, I just can't. People who don't know how fun poker is, and it's just. Do you find this? It's really hard to explain to non-poker players or non-gamblers, period, just how much fun this game is.
It's impossible.
Yeah, I mean, I felt kind of I learned about it pretty late in life. So,
so did I.
Craig Savali, who I was telling you about. He's the one that talked about it with me in the car when we'd be out on stories, and he would talk about like the flop and the river, and I'd look at him like he's crazy, going, "What are these terms you're talking about?" He was trying to explain the whole how the sequence of the cards goes and everything, but. Dale, I'll talk poker with you all afternoon long.
Yeah, tomorrow, today, every day of the week for hours.
I'll do it. But I've come to the conclusion on one thing about poker and one thing about like why people like me, Craig, Rick, and yourself, why we love the game so much is because it tells a story. Yep. Like the whole sequence of events tells a story, and we're all storytellers.
Yeah, absolutely.
And because of that, that's part of the thing that we just love about the game.
Well, it is for me. I mean, it is. I mean, there's the stories that come out of it, the way you can read other people and you get the feel. I mean, your character's exposed. I mean, I think you learn so much about people in how they play poker. I think I know almost everything I need to know about that person because you can just see what kind of guys they are, whether they're generous, whether they're funny, whether they're angry, whether they're bitter old men, or it's just. But again, watching it develop and how it plays out, yeah, you're exactly right. It's just a great story. That's why I always tell my wife, I wish you would at least learn the game. I'm not telling you to play it. But I really wish you'd learn the game, just so I could come home and talk to you about it.
I tell the same thing to mine. Michelle, my wife, blank stares.
As Greg unfortunately knows, I love talking about poker. And like you talk about,
I love that you love talking about it.
I just, and I've got a couple of friends, but I think what the other thing that's kind of hard for me to accept, but I'm trying, is it's kind of like golf in this regard. Nobody really wants to hear about your golf round after a day on the golf course, and I could do the same thing with golf in my day. I could go through not only my round, but I can go through your round. And I can tell you every shot you hit, every club you hit, every score you made. And when we were sitting on the patio, whenever there was a debate, I would be the guy that would sit there and say, no. You were 3 over par, going to 14. You hit it in the right rough, and then you hit a 9-iron out of the rough, and it came up just short of the green. And they all said, "How the hell do you remember that?"
Do you remember scores from like the 80s of like games in January or something, like in February? Like, I mean, that's crazy recall.
But he's the same way with scripts. He what? He
Well, I mean, I think the things that I care about, and I jokingly say that I don't remember my kids' birthdays. Of course I do. But I mean,
right.
You know this. I would go to, even at work, I would write a script. I would read it once. And then if the prompter goes down, it really wasn't a big deal because I remember the whole script. Yeah, and people were like, well, you memorized that. And I said, well, yeah, I guess so. But it has to be something I care about, you know. And you've seen this, Greg. You know this. I mean, I do my speeches. In fact, I'm doing one tomorrow in Greenville or for the Rotary Club, and I never have any notes, and I never have an outline in front of me. But I just know the stories, and I know where I'm going. And point A takes me to point B. Point B takes me to C. I do have that, and I hope I never lose that. It bothers me, you know, as I get older. I do find myself having, I don't know, I call it memory lapses, but you know, I think it's just somewhat human nature. But it's funny, like I don't remember like movies and TV shows, because I'm not that much into it.
Right.
That's just cotton candy for the brain.
Yeah.
So I'll watch a movie, and people will say, "Well, who was in it?" And I'm like, guys, I don't remember. What's the name of it? I don't really know. And then they'll say, almost invariably, they go, "Wait a minute, you're the guy that told me I hit a 7-iron on 14 8 years ago, and you don't remember what TV show you watched last night?" I said, "No, I really don't." And I think, as best I've been able to understand it, I think it's just simply a case of, if I'm into it, I'm into it big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I play poker now, quite honestly, and I don't remember every hand that went by because playing at these stakes of 1-2 for a couple $100, I'm not really that much into it. I'm just there to pass the time. So a lot of hands that I don't remember nowadays.
You don't pay attention when you have 9 deuce,
and you fold it. It doesn't matter. Yeah, you're not.
But when I am involved, and when I am there for the whole deal, then I can still recall them without any problem at all. And but again, like I also said earlier, sometimes it's an absolute curse. Because I enjoy talking about it, and I've come to realize, unfortunately, that a lot of my friends, they really don't care to hear it. They tolerate my obsession, and they tolerate my stories about poker and the like, but they're about as thrilled about hearing those as they were about hearing about my golf scores. Right. You know,
That's funny.
And once again, it's another fault of mine that I'm trying real hard to work on. But I don't know if I'm ever going to get there or not.
You need different friends, Dale. I love your stories.
Yeah, right? No kidding.
Rick has the same recall that you do in golf and poker. He has the same with movies and TV shows.
Yeah,
strangely enough, he can recall so much stuff. I'm kind of amazed by Rick a little bit too.
Dale, something that a lot of people will ask me when they find out we used to work together. They'll always be like, his unplugs and his commentaries and they would be like, he just does that off the cuff, right? And I would always be like, no, he takes massive amounts of time to write those. Like, he's not just thinking about it for 2 seconds and spitting junk out. And they're always shocked. Hey, do you run into that where people ask you that and then they're kind of surprised?
Yeah. I'm always intrigued by that. Years ago, I don't remember what this was, the specific of it, but I said something on the air, and Dave Lane, the greatest general manager in the history of television, in my opinion, he came into my office and he goes, "Oh my gosh, Dale," he said, "I can't believe you said that last night." He said, "We're getting calls. People are upset, whatever." And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry about that." He goes, "Well, I explained to him that and this is my favorite line. He goes, I just told him that, well, that's Dale. Sometimes he just fires it off on top of his head and he doesn't realize it until it's too late. And sometimes you just get caught." I went, "Oh, no, I wrote that." And he goes, "You wrote it?" He said, "Yeah, you wrote it. And you still said it?" And I said, "Well, of course I did. I mean, I write everything. I mean, I like it. I'm telling the truth, Rick. I tried real hard to make people think that I was making it up as I went along.
Word of the day.
Word of the day. Word of the day. Word of the day.
I like it.
All right. Well, that is now officially word of the day.
Intro music for word of the day.
Oh, and you just finished listening to more of our Dale Hansen experience.
So good. So
I can't believe I didn't say Dale Hansen experience up at the top.
I can't believe we didn't think about it.
What do you mean? We've said it every single time.
Well, no, I mean like earlier, like when we were talking to him. But I guess I didn't realize it was an experience until afterwards.
It was an experience.
Do you think he's going to call his podcast the Dale Hansen Experience?
No, but it would be so awesome if it did.
Because we can prove that we came up with it.
It came from here.
It came from us.
Yeah, I mean, Dale, if you're listening, Dale Hansen Experience.
Copyright. No.
No. Trademark. No.
Trademark.
Just kidding. Anyway, word of the day. Call sheet.
Oh, call sheet. That's a good one.
Yeah, call sheet. That's the little document that you get. It could be an email.
Yeah.
That pretty much tells you what's happening with the shoot schedule.
Who's going to be there? What time people
Who
need
needs to be there? What's happening? All the different important details and information for what's going to happen.
Like in the film and
shoot.
TV world, if you're number one on the call sheet, you're typically the lead of the show. So like when you're doing, Star Wars movie, or whatever, whoever they consider the lead, so probably Harrison Ford in most of those, he's the first person that needs to be on set.
Mark Hamill wasn't the lead?
I don't know, I think it was kind of split between the three of them, plus their scenes were split up, but I'm curious who the number one person on that call sheet was.
Okay.
But anyway, for us it deals more with...
I thought it was Jar Jar, honestly.
Oh, I should hit you. I almost just did a Jar Jar voice just to get mad at you. Then I'd be mad at myself.
Yes, but and apparently we're doing these words of the day in twos, and another C word.
This one,
but it's a different kind of C word.
This is funny because
what is it?
What I was told is not what it is.
What?
A C stand.
What's a C stand?
So
I know what a C stand.
My understanding with a C stand was that it was called a C stand because when collapsed down, it looked like the letter C. The legs looked like the letter C.
I can kind of see
the person
that.
The person who told me that is a liar.
Oh, it's not real?
No, it stands for century, which is the name of the most common size of reflector held by these stands in the early days of filmmaking. The anatomy of a C-stand is based on a stem, a head, a grip, and 3 legs to secure balance of what you have secured on the C-stand.
So it has nothing to do with what it looks like.
No, that person's a liar.
Liar!
Which, if you just listen to the Dale podcast or the Dale interview, he talks about using the word liar.
He does, but I'm not sure if he's said it yet.
He said it in part 3. He was in part 3.
But
it was part 3.
It could be part 4.
I don't think it's gonna be part 4.
You don't
part
think?
4? I guess we'll find out. You'll find out if there's a part 4. If we had some extra. If you
saw this, there's a part 4.
If we had some extra.
There's totally a part 4 if you saw this. So, he hadn't said liar yet.
Fair point.
On that note,
we're out.
It's time to say goodbye. He's got to walk his dog.
My German Shepherd's right there. She wants to go for a walk. No, she doesn't.
She's lying down.
I know.
She's slobbering all over the floor.
Like, share, subscribe.
Download. Bye.
Yeah, we're out.